talk about the power of persistence, the capacity to stay put in something until it produces. We call it the staying power, the capacity to stay, to become resilient, because you see, a lot of people would have had chance of succeeding, but for the fact that they don't have staying power. Sometimes it is when the thing is about to become successful that people quit. And that's why most people are not successful. You see, I've come to realize that it is not the person with the best idea that wins. It is the person with the most consistent idea that wins. Because sometimes in executing your ideas, there can be a lot of resistance, there can be discouragement and disappointment. But it's only the people who are able to take it, people who are able to absorb it, people who are able to, defile every odds and keep moving, that eventually get to the end of the tunnel. They say that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it determines who gets to the end of the tunnel. If you don't get to the end of the tunnel, you won't see the light there. So it is the staying power, the capacity to stay put, the capacity to hold on even in the midst of great adversity, the capacity to keep moving, keep navigating, keep, be very, very focused on what you're doing in spite of every distraction. That is what is, that's what brings about success. Success is the process of staying put in something, keep digging it, keep advancing it. There are many things that I've tried to do in my life that I faced opposition, great opposition. But you see, sometimes opposition is the guarantee that the destiny of that thing is awesome. Opposition can be an indication that you are in the right direction. So if you are facing opposition right now, just know that most likely there's something there, because if you are a nobody, nobody wants to trouble a nobody. Nobody cares about nobody. If it is when you are a somebody that somebody will care about you. So persistence is very important. It is people who persist that can get to the place where they begin to record success. Success does not just jump on people. Success is a process or a product of persistence. You must persist. It's more like having faith. It's more like having faith and great belief in what you're doing, and you are staying put there to ensure that that thing that you are doing, you drive it to a conclusive end. Because if you give up in the process, the results of that thing you have been pursuing will never be a reality. I've seen people give up at the verge of their breakthrough because they are not persistent. And when it comes to money matter, when it comes to becoming wealthy people are people who are always showing up. There are people who are always showing up. You beat them today, they come back tomorrow. You beat them tomorrow, they come back next tomorrow. One of the things I advise people is that start early, because when you start early, you can take insult when you are younger. When you are young, you can take insult. People can embarrass you and you have a lot of time to, recover from it. But when you become old, people become old. That's when people start asking you questions that, do you know how old I am? Am I your mate? And all of that, because they have come to a point where they can no longer take insult. They can no longer take all those backlashes, criticism, and all of that. But when you are younger, you're able to take those things. So what I'm saying to you is this: ensure that you start early, ensure that you go all out, take the insult, take the resistance, take people standing in your way. Because people will stand on your way, whether you like it or not. I remember one of my sister one time, had an uncle of ours who was supporting her education, and This uncle, before he will give you money, he will first of all abuse you, abuse your father, abuse your mother. I don't know what your father is doing in the village. I don't know what your mother is even doing. They're just, putting burden on me. He will still give you the money, but he will abuse the hell out of you. Even you. Can you not work in the school? He will just talk all kinds of things before he gives you the money. So this my sister came to me and said, look, I'm tired of going to this uncle to go and ask for help. Every time I go there, he will always abuse me. I said, well, if not that you are telling me that they abused you, I'm not seeing it written on your face. The most important thing is that you got help. Did you get the money? Say yes. Are you now going to pay your school fees? She said yes. I said, so if you got the support, you got the money, then there's no need. The abuse is not written on your face. When you go and pay the school fees, they will not be reading the abuse on your face except you tell somebody. So that's what I'm talking about. There are people who don't have that resistant power. There are people who don't have the capacity to shake off everything that, stains them or anything that bounces on them. You need to just shake off and stand strong. You know why? Because more of it will come. If you ever want to become successful, you will face opposition. You will face criticism. You will face people standing on your way. You will face competition. You will face all kinds of things. But the thing is, if you can persist, if you can have staying power, if you can stay put, you will get to the end of that line. You will finish it. You become who we call line crosser. You become a barrier breaker because you need to break barriers. You need to get to that point where you break all barriers, you shatter all forms of resistance, and you get to that destination that has been assigned for you. You can never become wealthy if you are somebody that easily give up. You can never make any lasting success if you are somebody that before they shake you, you are already down. You can never achieve lasting success if you keep doing that. You must be somebody who is failure proof. You have gone through failure, you rise again. The thing about failure is that if you keep rising, you will never fail. It is people who don't ever rise after they fail that have become failure. So failure is fine now when you don't rise. If you rise again, you will still keep on moving. I remember many years ago, there was this particular boy in our school. The boy, it was very strong in resistance, but not very strong in fighting. So this is the kind of boy that you beat. After you finish beating him, you just stand up and go. As in, he was so strong in resistance, but not strong in fighting. So he still was able to scale through all the things that came against him. Because why? He was strong in resistance. If you can become strong in resistance and be very persistent, always show up, always go back to that place where you have been rejected, always go back to that place where they told you it's not possible, and begin to push boundaries, begin to push things, you will become successfully eventually because you have decided to become very tough. Tough time never lasts. It's only tough people that do. The tougher you are, the more you can overcome tough times and go, and achieve greatness in your life. So what I want to say to you today is become very persistent. Show up. Have the staying power. That is what will take you to the next level.